Hey guys, welcome back to Gaslands TV. Today I'll be doing SpiderWing, a black and purple car with a bit of fade on the wings. But before I get into it, let's talk about the Gaslands TV contest. We're doing a contest where you could win a container full of guns, wheels, missile launchers, rams, a bunch of stuff. All you gotta do is go on the Facebook page Gaslands TV and post a picture of a car that has the colors of the Gaslands TV logo. So here's a few samples from the members of the group. Some pretty cool and innovative stuff. They even read Gaslands TV on the actual car. This purple and blue nose is really cool. This thing looks like it's straight out of the Spider-Man cartoon. Check this out. Spider legs. And someone actually put the Gaslands TV logo by hand on the car, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, go check that out. Let's get into this build. So first what you want to do is obviously open up the Hot Wheels. So we're gonna use a drill here, drill out the rivets and open up the car. And I think I'm gonna be priming everything black because this gold is not gonna work. So I'm gonna take out some of the Hot Wheels logo on this. I'm going to be priming everything black, but just so you guys can see, you could keep a car the colors that it actually has if you like the colors, and just, you know, scrap off or rust off what you don't like just by using this filer. It's like a metal sandpaper, so it does the job really well. So you could get rid of stuff that you don't want on the car and still keep the actual colors. At first I was thinking, you know, maybe this could be like a capture the flag kind of car or something, or maybe have a logo on it. But then I went back to my using my headphones, or used up headphones, or dollar store headphones, and gonna put a gun on the roof here. The tip is basically Q-tips, which I just cut, and before gluing anything, I always take a look, see how it looks, and the cannon was a bit too long, so I figured I'll remove this black extra piece here at the end and put the tip inside that little hole there. I got lucky, it fits perfectly actually, so it gives a nice little length to the cannon. Now for the wings, you could go to your local game store and talk to the manager or whatever, and say, you know, ask him if he has any minis that aren't selling, and or a game that's not doing very well. So like Malifaux isn't performing really well at my local game store, so, you know, I bought that piece just to get the wings, and tried to figure out how I'm gonna put the wings on. I think that's a bit extreme, so if I put them probably like this, that looks pretty good. And glued them and tested it out, and yeah, I think it's ready for priming. I didn't want to waste this piece, so I cut off the legs, and maybe, you know, someone stole a statue or something and stuck it on his car. I wanted to put it in the front there, but it didn't make sense with the face of the bug, so decided to put it on top of the cannon here. Now, while I was priming it, it actually broke, so I'm gonna have to re-glue that. And the inside has some pretty cool details, so I'm gonna probably paint that. I'm gonna start with black, just paint everything inside black. I should have spray painted it black with a primer that I had, but didn't really open the car when I primed it, so that was useless. And I'm gonna just use the black, since I still have it out, to paint the tires a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the tires black. Probably gonna go with dark purple, and Gonna put some glue and re-stick the wing here from the mini model. Now this caused a problem, and I'll show you why later, but basically when I put the car back together, the tires weren't fitting because of the wings. So I'll show you how I fixed that. Then put some silver on the engine here, and since I had the silver out, basically I do everything that I think should be silver or metallic in silver. I think I even painted the steering wheel in silver as well. So did the front here and the tip of the gun, and then I wanted to do the purple color, but it's too bright, so I'm gonna add some black to the purple. Again, this is the first time I'm actually darkening a color, so we're gonna learn this together if it's the first time you're doing that too. So put a bit of purple and I guess a bit of black would darken it up a bit. That looks like a lot of black. So yeah, when you mix it, it's actually very dark. So maybe if I put some color back in, it's gonna bring out the purple. So next time I know just one tiny drop of black. Make it a bit dark. This looks like a pretty good dark purple. So what I'm gonna do is put this on the edge here of the wings. Put some paint. Make sure there's a bit extra paint there, and then with the brush, just move the paint in the direction of the fade that I want. Do the same thing on the other side. It's very subtle. It's hard to tell that it's there, but there's a little fade. And then with a brush that's dry, just clean it up a little bit, mix the color, and then with the base color, not the black and purple, but just the purple, highlight where the fade starts, and then with the brush just move the extra paint a little bit into the fade. So I'm gonna do it again on this side here with the purple, highlight where the fade's coming from, and then once you have a lot of paint there, you could dry the brush or clean the brush a little bit on a Scott towel, and then with a dry brush move the extra paint down into the fade. I mean, this is my method. There's probably other methods that are really good out there, and I'd love to hear them. If you know how to do a fade without using airbrush, I'd greatly appreciate that in the comments, and pretty sure a lot of other people would like to hear your method, and I'll probably try it out next time. Now you could even use your finger to blend the two colors at the end of your fade. As long as the paint is still fresh, your finger does a pretty good job at blending colors. So I'm gonna put a bit over here. It's very subtle. It's a subtle fade. I mean, dark purple on black, it's hard to see. Even in the pictures that I posted of this car, it's really hard to see. I mean, it's only really nice in person. So that looks pretty good on the sides there. Now with a bit of purple here, I'm gonna do the bust of the statue. Well, her shirt at least. And probably do her hair after. If you have some extra paint left on the brush, you could fix up your fade. Dry brush basically the fade a little bit. and highlight again. Try to keep in mind that when you paint, the colors are always gonna darken once they dry. Same thing like when you're painting your walls in your house. You know, you might want to paint it green, and when you put your first coat of green, you're like, hey, this is not the color I chose. And after your second coat and after it dries, it actually looks like the color you chose. So it's the same when you're painting miniatures. Things come out really bright when they're wet, and they'll dry up darker. So here I am highlighting the bones, I guess, of the wing. What's that called? Cartilage of the wing. And when it's really thin like that, you could use a toothpick to try to do some details. So just wanted to highlight the lines there in the wing. And then I'm gonna put some purple here on the eyes. I wasn't being too careful here because I knew I was gonna probably go back on with some black and fix all the edges of the eyes. And then with some dark purple, I did the face and the head of the bug. I wanted to do a fade here on these side wings, so what I did was I put some of the dark purple at the tips here, dried off the brush of the excess paint, and then moved the paint downwards with the brush. Gotta do this pretty quick because you don't want it to be dry when you're moving the paint downwards. And I'm gonna do the other side too. And then with the actual bright purple, just do the tips and then bring down the excess paint again. You could keep doing this until you're happy or satisfied with how the fade's looking. Makes a big difference from one side to the other. And now they're both done. So that's looking pretty good. Still need to rust it up and damage it up a little bit. Sometimes it's always good to put the car back together and see if there's anything you missed, and then undo it and fix it. So with a bit of silver here, I'm going to do some of the damage or paint chips. So just make sure you don't have too much silver on your brush, and then with just the tips of the little hairs that are sticking out of the brush. I mean, you could even use like a really old brush to do this, and just pass the tip of the brush where you want to chip some metal off. Silver just looks like chipped metal, and it does some pretty good battle damage. Put some over here, and I'm gonna go do the other side and the roof. I mean, some of these Hot Wheels, if you have really old ones or a friend who gives you a bunch of old Hot Wheels, they're already going to be damaged, so it's pretty lucky. But sometimes after priming, you don't have that used up look, so you gotta make it yourself with just simple silver, metallic silver. Okay, I'm gonna do a bit over here on the side. Again, really lightly. This is not like dry brushing. You do have paint on your brush because you want the silver to kind of stand out, but you don't want to put too much of it. So just a tip. Now you probably want to damage the metal around your turret here. Put some silver all around there, damaging up quite a bit. Again, even silver dries up darker, so don't worry about putting a bit more than what you want to see. Then you could highlight some bumps with the silver here. And while that's drying, I'm gonna do some of the wheels. Here's the mags. So I'm gonna do the mag purple, bright purple, and do the tires dark purple. This is the problem I had. So I couldn't close the car because the wings were there and they were glued on too low. So I had to basically break off the back wheels and cut them off of their metal rod. It was actually pretty hard to do by hand, so I'm gonna use these clippers here. And don't worry, those are my cheap clippers. And it actually cuts through these metal rods if you press hard enough. So and then you want to also remove the excess that are sticking out of the tire. So now I only have tires, which is going to be easier for me to glue wherever I want without hindering the wings or having to unstick them and restick them. Now for the tires, I'm just going to clean them up here with the dark purple after doing the mags. And start doing the dry rust effect from War Paints. These guys should sponsor me. Mention them in every video. So yeah, just put some of that rust effect wherever you think your car would be rusted, or where metal would meet, or wherever you would do soldering and stuff like that. And the fender, on top of the wheels, wherever water would pool, like up here there's probably a lot of water that pools when it rains, so put some excess rust on that area. And I don't want to put too much rust on this car. I kind of like the black and purple of it, but you know, it's Gaslands, so gotta be dirty, gotta be rusted. Now when you're using rust, you could do a nice spot of a lot and then just move that rust around. Put some around the turret here. I mean, when it rains, water pools on the roof, so don't be scared of putting rust on the roofs like that, especially around turrets and guns. And I'm just going to dry brush the back there. Put a bit over here. And just clean off the brush all over the car. Now I put a little bit by accident on the wing here, and if that ever happens, you could use a toothpick to just scrape off little mistakes that you might have and fix it up later. I'm going to put some rust on whatever I made that was metal, like the engines and the front bumper. And then I'm going to finish it off with a red tone wash. So it's going to be like, it's kind of like a liquid ink that you put a lot of wherever you want to have some shading inside the creases, which really adds to the detail of the part. Now I think I'm going to also add a chain to this car and use my drywall sandpaper for the windows, the side windows. So cut them to size, whatever size you need them to be, and try to be really precise on the size, because sometimes when you put a car back together, it's going to be hard to put the car back together if you put too much of that stuff inside the car. Now that I have the wheels off, I could actually glue them at whatever height or length that I choose without having any problems. So I'm just going to take out this little piece of metal that's inside and flatten out the part that I'm going to glue to the car. Now, obviously the back wheels aren't going to be turning at this point, so put some glue, make the tire dry there. And to paint the chain, I wanted the chain to be purple, so I put a lot of paint on my brush, and just on a paper towel I just painted a pile of chain, and it came out pretty well. And glue the other tire. Now, what I wanted to do with the chain was actually have it come out of the arms, or the vacant arms, or the void of arms of the bust, like that, you know, like a chariot kind of thing. But it was really hard to glue and hold the chain there, so I was lazy and just glued it to the bottom of the car, and then with some silver dry brush dirtied up the bottom of the car. And I mean, the chain looks pretty good. It's subtle, and with leftover silver, did the mags here. Just basically chipped off the purple off the mags, make it look a little bit more realistic than, you know, full off purple. So mags get pretty dirty and pretty damaged in Gaslands, I would assume. So a bit of silver, and that looks pretty good. Got the chain there. That's almost, it's a little hint it's there, you know, and it's done. I mean, this was 2-3 colors max. Pretty easy build. If you are looking for dice or engine blocks that have skulls on them, or just engine blocks, or you know, rams, pipes, guns and stuff like that, you could order a container, Gaslands TV container, off our Etsy page. You can find the link in the description of the video. We're also on Facebook, Gaslands TV. We're on Instagram at Gaslands TV. And also, we have a Gaslands TV sponsorship rule, so you could get sponsored by Gaslands TV. If you want those rules, go on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching. See you next time.